I'm Cookie Miller, and this is Worth the Wait. Join me every week as I explore profound weight loss solutions beyond just diet and exercise, because a lifestyle change starts with changing your mind. This week's episode is sponsored by Cookie Miller Coaching, a holistic online weight loss coaching service that aims to help women who have 30 pounds or more to lose. This program is for the woman who has tried everything and is serious about making a lifestyle change. Visit apply.cookiemiller.com to book your free consultation call. We are enrolling new clients now and space is limited. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Worth the Wait podcast. I am your host, Cookie Miller, and today I'm going to be talking about mindfulness and awareness. And this came up because I just recently did an Instagram post where I kind of told this story and in the end talked about the importance of mindfulness and awareness. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please do. My page is at Cookie Miller. And of course, follow the podcast at Worth the Wait Podcast on IG as well. So you guys know I like to start off with definitions. So what exactly is mindfulness? Mindfulness is described as a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations used as a therapeutic technique. A couple of the words that stand out to me when I read this definition are focused and present, right? I think a lot of the times when we're experiencing really high anxiety or maybe even are in a depressive state, which was true for me and something that I talked about on that Instagram post. But when we're in that state, sometimes what's happening is that we're anxious because we're thinking about what's going to happen or we're reflecting on what did happen. So being able to actually be present in the moment is so important to our mental health. Now, a lot of the times when I talk about my own weight loss journey, it's often on Instagram, and I love Instagram, but then I don't because seeing a before and after picture is so instant and it really doesn't tell all of the intricacies that really go into a journey like this, a lifelong journey where you're really making a lifestyle change. And so that's why I want to use this opportunity to really kind of expound on that and set the expectation that losing weight will not fix everything. But making different lifestyle changes will help you to be able to better cope with the stressors that you have in your life. So at this point, I've lost 100 pounds. I've kept it off for the past 7 or 8 years. And this story particularly is from 10 years ago. So that's important to note, right? It didn't just happen overnight. I made this attempt and then I made other attempts. I had made attempts before this, but at some point, I was actually able to do it, but this was really a story of failure. So what happened is 10 years ago, I set out this goal that I was going to lose 25 pounds, like the 25 days of Christmas. It was a mess, but I was so nervous, to be around my family and everything. I had gained so much weight and I knew I was going to be around friends and different things like that. So I set out this goal to just lose these 25 pounds. Well, 2 days before Christmas, I stepped on the scale and I had not lost 25 pounds. I hadn't lost any weight. And I went into a huge breakdown. Just everything started falling apart in my mind. I was in my closet, the cry closet. That's what I called it on the post. And that's what it was. It has since evolved, but it does still exist. But I went into the closet and I was just crying. I was beating myself up. I was writing myself this long letter that then turned into a contract with myself that I was going to actually get to, whatever this weight loss goal was and all these different things. I didn't uphold any of that, by the way. But at the time, I thought, this is what I need to do. I need to, really make a commitment to myself. I took it so far as to sign the darn contract. And I actually still have this letter that I wrote out. But I was just basically saying things like, why can't I ever stick to anything? I'm so tired of my body aching. I'm so mad at myself. How many times am I going to keep starting and stopping this? And you guys know this saying, you know, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That is where I was. And that year I spent Christmas with just my little doggy. And I just didn't talk to anybody. I just completely withdrew myself because I was full on in depression mode. At that point, I had tried so many times to lose weight. And I would even bet that I had tried since that January, right? And so losing this 25 pounds in December was like a last ditch effort to do something for that year. And I had failed, and it hit hard. So of course, it wasn't just about the weight. It was just a feeling of constantly feeling like I was lying to myself because I was saying I'm going to do this thing, but then I never was able to actually follow through with the things or with the goals that I was setting for myself. And when you're continually failing at something, I mean, it almost feels like there's no way that you would not get to a state of depression, like failure after failure after failure. It just felt like I was incapable of doing this and something was inherently wrong with me. So I did not lose the 25 pounds. Like I said, it was 2 days before Christmas. I hadn't lost any weight. I canceled Christmas. And I spent like the next 9 months basically just staying in that state of just being fully depressed. There were so many other things going on too that I won't get into. I've talked about these things a little bit on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Cookie Miller. And if you check out the playlist that's called Cookie's Corner, you'll see some videos where I really kind of talked about that. But a lot of the things I don't talk about because it involves other people and I want to respect their privacy. But just know that I was going through it, and trying to lose the weight was like my way of trying to have control over something. At least just give me something in my life that I can have control over, that I can be responsible for, and that I can do, you know, that I can actually succeed at, because it felt like there were just a lot of failures happening. So like I said, it wasn't until September of the next year that I actually got myself together, and I had my very last first day, and I have not looked back since. I lost 70 pounds in that time. I went on to lose 30 more pounds, and I kind of fluctuate back and forth in that range. But I have never regained any of the 70 pounds. And I also was able to break out of the depression at that time. And of course, I found a new passion for fitness. I became a certified personal trainer and then a weight loss specialist. And I'm working on a new nutrition certification. I'm in a hormone course. So it has totally taken over my life in the best way. And it has become my business and my passion to help women to really break through those barriers and get to their goals as well. So I would love to say that, yeah, that's the end of the fairy tale, and then I lived happily ever after and everything was so much better because I lost the weight. But that is not what happened. So many different things has happened over the past 10 years since I was in the closet crying and everything like that. And I've continued to be in the closet crying here and there for some of the things that have happened in my life. Now, when 2020 hit, it was already kind of like a weird start to the year for me. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. And of course, once we hit March, we all know what happened at that point, right? And so I was going through the motions of that. If you were following me back then, I was posting a lot of content on YouTube about how to quarantine and still lose weight. And I was posting on Instagram and everything. And I was really in this mode of trying to remain a motivator for other people who were out there, trying to remain a motivator for my clients. I had a lot of clients that, as COVID started to get worse and worse, they started to lose family members. It was a rough time. And I didn't deal with any of that, really. I was not actively in therapy at that time. And I just didn't deal with it. Then in August, I found out that my dog had vestibular disease, and her first attack kind of mimicked like a stroke. It was a very scary situation. Fast forward to 2021, and in March of 2021, she was diagnosed with cancer. So my same little puppy who 10 years ago, had come in and was checking on me because I was crying in the closet, is now going through this super tough time. And it's just been so hard to, really care for her during this time. Anyone who's ever had a pet, I've had animals all my life. My family loves animals. We grew up with having dogs, and we've gone through so many losses of dogs, especially once they get to that age of 10 and 11. And, those are kind of like tougher years for dogs. So it's not like it's something I'm unfamiliar with, but it still is really tough. So I think at that point is when everything just kind of came crashing down on me. Not just her diagnosis, but everything from 2020 that it felt like other people were kind of feeling as it happened. I didn't feel it until now, until 2021. It felt like everything just came crashing down. And at that point, I had to get myself back into therapy and everything like that. And the reason that I bring this up is because I think it's really, really important to know that, life is going to keep doing life. It's going to keep happening. Things are going to keep happening. There's always going to be something going on. But what I was able to hold on to, because I didn't regain my weight or anything like that, during that time. Thank God, because I can't imagine how much that would have compounded everything. But I did have a moment where I didn't really know how I felt. And it was kind of like, what the heck is, what is going on? There was a lack of mindfulness. So I wasn't focusing on the present moment. I wasn't, accepting the feelings that I was having and the thoughts that I was having. I wasn't doing all of those things that we know mindfulness is. And so once I was able to have the awareness of I think I am slipping back into some sort of depression, was when I really was okay, I know exactly what I need to do. And that was honestly one of the best and most reassuring feelings, because having been in that state before when I first was trying to start my weight loss journey, and just being able to sit down and reflect and think about, okay, I've felt this feeling before, I've been in this situation before. How did I get out of it? So that's when I really had to take a look at what my habits had become after the year that was 2020, right? I did not regain weight, like I said, but that doesn't mean, there's a blessing and a curse to really understanding nutrition in a way. And so because I really understood calories, I understood nutrition, I understand exercise, I was still able to really maintain myself, by continuing to be active and, eating enough calories to be within my caloric window, but I wasn't eating the best things. And so that was playing such a big role into how I felt. There's so much that is connected to, there's so much about our emotions that are connected to our nutrition and the type of food that we're eating. And so I really had to stop and, cut out all of the DoorDash and Uber Eats and Drizzly, which I won't even get into that, but all of the ordering that I was doing, all of the constant eating out, I had to really get out of that. That was something that I had really picked up in 2020. I don't know if you're someone who started ordering a whole bunch of food during 2020, please let me know. Don't leave me out here just hanging by myself. Leave a comment or send me a DM or something and let me know. But I was ordering food like crazy. I was ordering drinks like crazy. And it just kind of started to create such a bad effect to where, like I said, I was being impacted mentally. My emotions were being impacted and my state of being was being impacted. The other thing is that I wasn't having that connectedness. Something that really helped me to pull out of that depression that I was in before was just having a community, and having a community of like-minded people that I was really able to be myself within. And when 2020 happened, my community was a lot of like people at the gym. So maybe not, people that I talk to all the time, but just it's nice when you go in the gym and like the person at the front desk or the instructors. I was an instructor for several years, and so I know a lot of instructors, and just having that, connection of when you go in and then it's like there's people who haven't seen you and they'll give you that accountability, like, girl, where have you been? Those types of things were the things that I missed and the things that I needed to somehow recreate and get back. So in the midst of all of that, I enrolled myself into a coaching program where I had like a business coach now, and I was just surrounded with all of these people who were like-minded. They were people who were fitness professionals, and it was nice to have that community back. So it was just like little things that I needed to do to get myself back together. Another thing was sitting less and moving more. Something that was so bad for me before I was able to be successful on my weight loss journey is that I sat a lot. All the time. I worked an office job. I was always sitting down. I hardly walked, hardly had any movement. And of course, once the pandemic hit, it was kind of easy to fall back into that. There was nowhere to go. There was nowhere to be. There was, I've always worked from home, at least since I've owned my business. And, I'm used to that part, but there was no grocery shopping to do or no errands to run. There was no gym to go to because I did have like this nice little schedule that I used to do, and I would go to the gym in the middle of the day, and there wasn't any of that anymore. So I had to figure out, okay, what can I do? So I got a standing desk. I got a freaking Skip-It. Like, if you are my age, then you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I got a Skip-It. It's not the original one. There's one on Amazon. Listen, if you want the link, let me know. But I got a Skip-It. I was like, I have got to do like something. And so I just started to get different things that would help to keep me active while I was at home. And those things really helped to pull me through what was the crazy year of 2020. The last thing that I've really been focusing on and that I started refocusing on was getting outside and being in nature. So no, I couldn't go to the gym at that time. And, it's been like slowly kind of getting back into the flow of things, but I could go to the parks. I could go out and be in nature. I could go outside. I didn't have to suffocate myself inside the house. And so those are the things that I started to do to really be able to pull myself out of this depression that I had slipped into after 10 years of really not being in this state. And all of this is as a trainer, as somebody who, has been online and been showing up as a fitness professional that I am, as someone who is a coach to other people. And sometimes it can be really hard to be, in a certain position where people are looking to you for motivation and for encouragement. But when you're like trying to just keep your head above water, it's really hard to be that person for other people. So I say all of this to really encourage you all that, even those of us who are fitness professionals, I've talked to so many of my colleagues who have said the same exact thing, that they just had a really, really rough year and that some of them are only now seeing the effects. But just know that you're not alone. Even if you're at day one of your fitness journey and you're like, this is so hard and this feels so impossible, and you're beating yourself up. Maybe you're writing yourself letters in your cry closet like I was. Just know that you're not alone. Life is happening to so many of us out there, even those of us who seem like we may have it all together or have it all figured out. My biggest piece of advice to anyone who is out there and you're starting a weight loss journey or you're in the middle of your weight loss journey is to remember that the habits you choose daily make up your life. So don't get so caught up in losing, 25 pounds in 25 days or something crazy like that. Focus on the habits that you have to do every single day. Because had I not actually gone through this and actually changed my lifestyle, I know for a fact that if 2020 had happened without me having those habits and those structures in place, then that episode of depression that I had would have been a lot worse. I know for a fact I would have regained all my weight. So I am really just approaching now that I'm kind of coming out of this, and thank God Mercury retrograde is over. Can we insert a hand clap here? Listen, I need Juan to put a hand clap applause here for this. I am so glad Mercury retrograde is over by the time that you're listening to this. And I hope that you guys will just be encouraged by the fact that making a lifestyle change will help you in the long run. It's going to be the best thing for your mental health. Don't try to quick fix your way out of the weight loss. The problems are still going to be there. So the best thing for you to do is to just completely overhaul your lifestyle so that you get the benefit of having the tools that you need to be able to really sustain yourself through these tough periods that are going to happen because it's just a part of life. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. If anything has resonated with you, let me know. Send me a DM on IG at Cookie Miller or send us a DM at Worth the Wait Podcast. Of course, if you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear from you. So yeah, that's it, y'all. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.